Ava here from On the Spot Interviews with a very special guest who we actually reconnected and first met 8 years ago, reconnected a month or so ago. So, do you want to introduce yourself for everyone?
Hello, I'm John Corella, and I'm one of the co-creators of Dance Moms.
Yes, no, needs no further introduction. Anyone who's followed me for honestly, even since my channel started, because started my interviews around the time that Dance Moms premiered, will know how much I love that show. I've gotten to speak to multiple cast members, and it's just been a great little niche for me, and it's been great gaining some of my own followers who are fans of that show that you co-created. And I hate to do this, but because I know you've told this story a million times. So, can you kind of give the elevator pitch, although it's not really a pitch, the show already happened, but the elevator pitch, so to speak, of how this show came about? Again, I'm sorry. I just want to set the ground for everyone.
No, no. You know what? I haven't done, and I've been wanting to do this, but I haven't really done an interview in a while about
Okay, so it
the
doesn't feel.
development of it. I did maybe an article in the very beginning, but I felt I should do this because you're such a, I hate to use the word fan, but you love the show.
Oh, you can use
So,
it. I'm a Dance Moms fan, Dance Moms fanatic. I own it.
okay. Well, it just, I mean, it took everyone. It's that same story. Everyone thinks it happens overnight, but it took. I grew up as a competitive dancer, so that world, I loved it. I actually just talked to my dance teacher recently, and she was telling me like, John, you know so much about. You still remember who got second runner up when you were 10 years old, and um, it started with a good friend of mine, Stacy Hajarian. She was Kidder back then, but she was in casting for reality TV. And I just I think it was when So You Think You Can Dance came about. And I saw these amazing dancers, but I realized that that world hadn't seen, I had already been teaching dance to younger kids,
Hmm.
and they hadn't seen this beautiful, I mean, this beautiful world of dance competitions, this crazy, funny world.
Yes.
And, with that, she introduced me to another producer. We talked about it for a few years. And then finally, it was just, I guess, the right time, with God and where he was at work and what I was dealing with. I had a dance company at the time, actually, Corella Dance Company. And, I think when we went into one meeting and the love. I mean,
Hmm.
really, that's what, even before thinking about this, just the love of, I knew, all of them are super talented that have been on the show.
Oh yeah.
But those first girls I knew from before the show. So I knew of their dancing and I had interacted, um, seen them in Vegas or when they came out here. So just their love for dance. And I think that's what I talked about, these talented, incredibly talented
Oh yeah.
kids who are everywhere, but this group, and just really wanted people to see that, and to it's entertainment to see, watching those girls dance at such a young age, doing some of the numbers they were doing, contemporary and lyrical, was super meaningful. I have a feeling, correct, to younger audiences watching the dancing.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. And it made us feel something. And I think at the end of the day, it's the show got as big as it did for multiple reasons. But I want to say one of the reasons is people have an appreciation for art. So you think you can dance is big, American Idol is big. Those are reality shows. They're more reality competition shows, of course. But I'd like to believe part of the reason people are so sucked into reality TV is because there's an appreciation for something beautiful. And I think, beautiful lyrical numbers, we love watching that. And that's why, these girls would also be able to tour and they wouldn't be filming or anything. People just wanted to see them dance live and they loved that. And they did meet and greets after because people are fans of dance. It's one of, I think it's a huge pastime, like as far as like sports go, I mean, people argue if dance is a sport, but like baseball is a huge American pastime, and I feel like dance is kind of the same way.
Well, and dance for me, being, I identify as a gay man, growing up competing, it saved my life, dancing, competing, having that goal. And it's a form, it's a form of expression. And I think people saw that in the show.
Mhm.
That was the love of it. That in developing it was so fun. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah, I can only
it
imagine.
was so fun. And so yeah, that was pretty much how it came about in one meeting. And then from there, this is probably 5 years in the making.
Mhm.
We actually had started with um, Stacy and a friend of mine, Mark, talking about it was, like a little kid, so you think you can dance. And then it evolved into meeting this producer and going into Dance Moms. And I mean, it's coming up on 10 years, which is
That's
crazy to me. But,
this year, right?
this summer, yeah. Yeah. So we sold it or pitched it. That word is so Hollywood to me.
I know it's so overused, but like it's the right word.
But,
It's like,
I went into a meeting and talked about what I loved. That's what I like to say. And in September, and the show was being shot by April. So that was fast.
that's a quick
But
turnaround. I
yeah,
mean, the
it was
build
just
up isn't, but
super quick. And those were the, Nia, Brooke, Paige, Chloe, Mackenzie, Maddie. Those were the girls I put on the table. And
mhm.
just, really proud of them. I am. I'm
Yeah,
super,
and
super proud of them. And a lot of the, I got to meet other of the cast members, but like I said, I didn't necessarily know them from
mhm.
prior to the show, like I did some of these girls.
Yeah, and I mean, I love that they're all still doing great things and that you have great relationships with them. You're very supportive, know what they're doing. Nia just released a children's book, which I think is amazing. And
I
you know,
didn't know
you
that. What's the name of it?
is it I Can Dance? I think it's called I Can Dance.
Ooh, that's
Let me
amazing.
check 1 second. But yeah, I'm been meaning to order it actually. It's a children's book just about, confidence and whatnot. Let me see.
And that's the thing that I always say it was the new
Today I Dance.
Today I Dance, the new Mickey Mouse Club, kind of, and um, they'll continue to do if they just stay aligned to that. The love, because it cuts through all the noise at times
Yes.
Hollywood can have and reality TV. But if you just focused on, your purpose with God, which I think they are doing,
Mhm.
and it's anything, it doesn't always have to be, they all are contributing on so many levels. And I always say it doesn't have to be, um, sometimes the most meaningful thing is affecting a small group in a room rather than
Exactly.
thousands and thousands of people. I always say everyone tries to be so be an influencer on these. Why don't you influence your family? Why
Mhm.
don't you influence your friends, and why don't you influence those at your dance studio? Be influence them, the people in front of you, and then whatever happens should be the priority. But unfortunately,
Exactly. It's
it's
kind of like that phrase, like, "Think globally, act locally." Like, it starts at home, whether it's charity work, whether it's, whatever it is, and I think that they're all doing that. I mean, I've read some articles, they're still friends with their, elementary school friends back in Pittsburgh, and I think that that's very telling that they haven't lost themselves, and I think that, especially with the show becoming so insanely popular, that leaves a lot of room for, ego or, no humility or something, but I can honestly say I mean, I don't know them personally, but
yeah,
from what I've seen, they've all stood their ground. They're very kind whenever I've seen them. But I do, and I know we did briefly talk about this, but I do want to hear your insight just on, everyone's. I love what your mug says. I was like seeing it from my peripheral vision. Jesus coffee naps. That's adorable.
yeah. I think we have what is that? Um, Don't you have to have like permission by certain brands? I think we have permission by the Jesus brand.
Yes, we do. Yeah, you know what? Maybe it's Jesus will copyright this. I'm kidding. That would be hilarious. That would be amazing, but I don't find that happening. This is probably the most like wholesome interview. But anyway, I
Good,
think
good. I'm
yeah,
happy. We need more of that.
we so do in reality TV as well, which we're gonna get to everyone, I
Okay.
promise. So I just wanted to briefly discuss I've watched so many interviews with Dance Moms people, just saying like we never thought the show was going to get this big. And you, of course, were behind the scenes. So did you have any inclination that it would get this big? And if you say yes, like I don't take that as like you being like cocky. Like I genuinely want to know.
No, no. I knew it would sell because there
Mhm.
was not that world was not seen. You know, I would when I had a dance company, I would bring friends of mine to the dance competitions that weren't dancers. You know, a girl like you, and she'd walk in and go, "Oh my god, what like these little girls in the costumes and the parents in the back screaming at the stage and this world and they're amazing in this competitive world." So I knew it would sell, but I didn't. I guess I just kind of let it go. You know, I'm kind of
Mhm.
big like that. You know, I try not to worry about the result, you know,
Yes.
and just do what feels good. And but great for them.
Mhm.
Happy for them. It
Oh
was a
yeah, and I
blessing, you
think
know.
yeah, and I don't think I've told you this, but actually at the masterclass, this is just kind of a full circle impact moment. I actually met a girl, her name's Sophia. Hi, Sophia. I don't know if you still watch my interviews, but I miss you. You're probably like 18 now. I met when you were 10 or 11. Anyway, she was at the masterclass and she watched my interviews. So I actually met up with her to do an interview and she invited me to her dance competition. And it was the coolest thing because I didn't have any like cousins or I myself didn't dance, so I had never gone to a dance competition. And I'm like, I want to peek into this world, see if it's like Dance Moms. And it is, there's so much energy. The numbers are insane. Like everyone there is certainly talented. There's these elaborate costumes. So um, I can see why, if let's say those were reversed, if I had gone to a competition, you would ask me, "Do you think this would make a good TV show?" I would say, "Absolutely, this is so entertaining." And at the end of the day, it gets down to a love of dance. And I think that that's what people do need to remember about different reality TV shows. Unfortunately, there are some, and I won't name names, but there are some that there's nothing you can't simplify it into a love of dance. You can simplify it into a love of drama, a love of, you know, backstabbing your best friend, all these things. And I think that Dance Moms beautifully combined the drama that we all do love on reality TV. Like, let's everyone be honest for a second, but it also combined that with a love of dance. So I'm wondering, how did you balance that, navigate that, make sure that as a creator and someone behind the scenes, you could, weave that together well. Did that make any sense? I drank so
No,
much
it did.
coffee, so okay,
No, it did. It totally did.
okay.
I think, you know, I always say this, you know, reality TV, you know, I work in film. I sold a film a couple years ago, which is you work with a writer and there's a script and, you know, you're doing some meaning. It can be a very meaningful story. You
Mhm,
know, reality TV, how I came in, coming from dancing, going into reality television, um, you know, I just showcased the world, you know, so I'm not, I don't ever want to manipulate or make that. If that happens organically, which it does in all of our lives, you know, like you go to the DMV and I mean that can be stressful
oh,
and school creates, you know, that's why that's organically there. That's
mhm,
life. That's being a human. But um I don't think without the love no show will work.
mhm.
Not actually nothing will work without the love.
I
and
love
and
that.
yeah, nothing will work. It can be um and that's the thing. You just have to be vulnerable and and put yourself out there. The girls were extremely vulnerable, and the cast members. It's a tough world, being on reality TV,
It
and
is.
I think just as much as we want to hold them accountable, we need to help keep ourselves accountable
Yes,
and how we are. Um, it's a two-way streak, and we
it
have to be
is.
held accountable on how we are maybe shaming them, expecting them to be perfect, and it's a fine line, but you see what I'm trying to say a little bit?
Of
Yeah.
course, yeah, because whenever you have a platform, you're watched more harshly. It's just the reality. And I get to some extent people need to be good influences. And if they have a large platform, I think that is a responsibility. Unfortunately, sometimes it's not necessarily an obligation, and that's where I think problems can exist. But at the same time, these girls started this when they were, I mean, Mackenzie was 6. Like, that's very young to then be put
Amazing.
onto
So
social
easy to
media.
be.
Yeah, and I know, like, Melissa, hired a social media manager for them because
Mhm.
that's it almost takes that extra person, because they had no TV experience. I mean, Instagram was just starting up, so for them to navigate that on their own, I can only imagine that's hard. You have to almost bring in this whole team for all these girls to help them with that because otherwise it can be a very scary place, unfortunately.
For them and for us, I
Yeah.
know your viewers are young and vibrant and have these amazing ideas, I'm sure too already, going in their mind for their own dreams. And but we have to remember social media is not real.
It's not.
That is the big lie. That is the big lie is and it when you get that, any because it's a filter. I mean, it's
Literally and figuratively.
literally, yeah, like the person's not in front of you. So it's we all, I think that's something that it's enticing. Magic illusions are enticing for a reason,
Mhm.
and I think we, especially right now, with the state of society and with COVID and with um, racism, systematic racism, with um, bullying, with
Mhm.
exploitation. Of course, we have a responsibility, all of us. That's
Yes.
the thing. I say everyone. That's why I said the watcher and the person making both have
Yes.
responsibility.
It goes both ways, and, I mentioned this briefly to you, prior to recording, but it's so funny because I was so fascinated by why I like reality TV so much that I did a whole, freshman year, like,
Yes.
end, semester project on it, and I basically studied the psychological implications that it has on the viewer because so often we're like, "Oh, well, they're on reality TV, they're gonna grow up and become a drug addict." But then it's like, "Okay, but what about you?" And I had to think long and hard, do I watch too much reality TV? And the conclusion was, yeah, I probably do, let's be honest. How do I separate myself from that world? How do I make sure I watch this with intent that doesn't make me feel bad about myself? And what I realized was when I started looking at it through that lens, I was able to be I think there's a big difference between being inspired by someone and wanting to be someone. And I learned that in a freshman class. Christo Gobin, I love you so much. He was one of my professors. I so much of the stuff that
What's her
comes
name
out of my
again? I think I was laughing when you said it. What's her name again?
Christo Gobin, his last name's Gobin. Um, amazing, amazing, amazing professor. Like when I say one thing can have an impact on you, that's him. Um, and it's true. I could look at I'm trying to think of a good example. Okay, The Circle. We'll talk about The Circle because I love that show. I
And you're
could look at
interviewing Sammy soon.
Yes,
So
I'm
excited.
so excited. Once you finish the series, you'll have to let me know if you have any, like, fun questions for
Okay.
her. But I could look at The Circle and see Sammy and be, so jealous that she's so insanely confident and, can just speak her mind and is vulnerable and is, good at talking to boys and all this stuff. Or I could be inspired and be like, okay, well, what makes her that way? How can I be, I don't want to say how can I be more like her, but how can I get my confidence up? It's a very, very, very fine line. But I realized like I have that in me. I just don't
You're already there.
yeah, and if I
Yeah.
wasn't there, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing to strive for, to be more vulnerable or to be more outgoing if it's already ingrained in someone's personality. What I do think is would be unhealthy is, if someone was, I don't know, just there was no attainable way for them to have a certain quality, I don't know, and then they do unhealthy things to get that, like
Well, that's the hard part too. Maybe, reality TV. There's this book that I read and it talks about reality with a little r and reality with the big R. And
oh,
so maybe reality TV is more reality with the little r.
yeah.
It's not the real of who we are and who they are at times. So they're going through things on their own too. They are growing in front of us at times with people around them, which is a whole
Mhm.
nother um, accountability that I think needs to be done. But what if we realize that and know that we don't lack anything, and what I have a problem with is when reality TV shows teaches you that you, as a producer, that their audience, that they lack, that they need something, and
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 then
they, and they
they'll
don't,
not
to get you
see
to
it.
keep watching or to get you to
Exactly.
buy their stuff, where you don't. We don't. We like you said, you already have everything Sammy has. It's just getting rid of the thoughts and the things um and also not to go on that path, but just normal things that we see. That's why too I think Dance Moms did well is when you see as a former competitor, there's a lot of work even emotionally and mentally that goes into stepping on the stage.
Oh, yeah.
So to see have to like how the girls handled that pressure of competing as well as the camera, um it's that's the you saw the backstage, the messiness, and I feel that all of us, reality TV, television, film, need to have a higher standard, meaning those who create it, um, take it, and another thing too, there is a such thing as forgiveness too.
Of course.
All of us are learning y- and going at the same time, so making it better and healthier. You know, to create from pain only creates more pain, and to watch from pain only creates more pain. So
Mhm.
art is there to heal and to learn and to inspire, like Sammy did. I love how we just keep going back to Sammy. Hi, Sammy. But
Hi,
um,
girl.
that's what it's there for, because I said this earlier, we all are, there's, all of us are special and none of us are special.
Exactly. No,
If
it's
that
like
makes sense.
it kind of goes back to, like, you're unique just like everybody else. It's that kind of idea.
Yeah, and all of us are. I'm not a big fan of making anything that causes the viewer to idolize, because then that means it's unattainable, and then that means that you need something to make you feel better, and that's not the truth. The truth is you have it, but unfortunately there are reality shows out there that do that, and I think that,
Yeah.
I feel if we don't take accountability as the creators and those watching, I don't think we will go on a very dark path in society more and more,
We
with
will, and
more um, like psychological effects, more feelings of lack, more body image issues,
oh,
more yeah. So
yeah, and it's fascinating because I would watch this is just an example I just thought of. I would watch John and Kate +8. I loved that show, and all they did was go on vacation. And it was weird. I got like a very I felt like I was lacking. I'm like, I go on one vacation a year. Like they get to go to theme parks every day. They get to meet Oprah. They get to do all these things. And I was young. I was like 11, 12. And it's weird because even then I felt I was lacking something that had nothing to do with a typical thing like body image or, I guess you could say money or finances. But it's so crazy that it just does that almost. I mean, it's consciously, but it kind of feels unconscious. But with something like Dance Moms, I never felt that. I felt, wow, I wish I could dance, but that is attainable. Like if I wanted to start dance class, I could. I didn't just because like I love watching dance. I always say I'm the biggest fan of dance, but I don't dance. So I don't know. There was nothing on that show that made it feel unattainable. And I think to all the little girls who watched it and watched Paige's flexibility or something, or Maddie's million pirouettes. I think they were inspired by that. I'm sure I could find videos of people like, Maddie just did 5 pirouettes. I'm gonna try to do 5 now. Like, I don't know. I think you did that beautifully, and I don't know if that was intentional or if that's just how it happened, but bravo
No,
to you, I guess is what I'm saying.
that was um just put a I have a little light here. So same thing. Like you just put a light on it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to put a light on that world and get it seen and do a show, about it. And but yeah, so that's kind of where that was. But also too, it's story, there's many ways of doing that. I know you talked about other shows too, and anything. It's about what's behind the dancing too. I think,
Mhm.
really, because I've seen a lot of good dancers who can do the technique, but there's not a lot behind it, which is more important.
It is.
Um,
When I'm watching a dancer, half the time I'm looking at their face. I don't know what a good grand jeté looks like, you
yeah.
know? So I totally agree, and I think that I keep going back to this. I sound like a broken record, but with Dance Moms, because there was, it wasn't being created from pain and it wasn't being like showing these unrealistic standards. Because yeah, you could say those girls were, skinny, but most kids are when they're that age. So it
Let me
wasn't.
rephrase that. I don't feel they created from pain, the girls.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you for clarifying. Yes, they were these girls from Pittsburgh who loved dancing and
Yeah. And maybe I'm not saying that, maybe not to invalidate their feelings, but that
yeah,
there
no.
was the love for dance,
Of course, yeah,
and,
don't worry.
and
I
passion.
totally get what you're saying. And I think that was highlighted very well, like I said earlier, kind of balancing why we all love reality TV with something more. And I think that's really important with any TV show. So I'm wondering, Dance Moms set a good precedent for new standards for reality TV, but I also know you're the first to admit that those standards could always be heightened. So I'm wondering what's next? Like, what can future producers who are watching this do to make
Maybe
sure?
they are right. Here's the future producers watching. That's what I
Yeah.
tell, these kids that are watching, they can do it too. But go ahead, I cut you off. What was your
Oh, no
question?
worries. I should have said like anyone watching, if you're like into this, um, we want to get shows more towards. I hate I keep saying it more towards the circle type of environment where there's nothing scripted, nothing is manipulated, I guess you could say. So where do we go from here? I know that's a long-winded question.
No, it's okay. Meaningful, meaningful content. Anything that makes you feel, anything that comes from here, not here.
Hmm.
This can kind of, I gotta, yeah. But this is very true. And, right now, and I know you have something coming up in for Pride, so I don't want to go into that in June month, your Pride series, but I'm working on getting a documentary, helping a documentary getting made about the word homosexuality being put in the Bible. It's called 1946, the movie. So that is very, is that going to cause drama? Of course it will. Do you see what I mean? But but you're just putting it out there and you're letting people, it's giving truth. And sometimes truth does do that. So things like that, anything that heals, that inspires, like you said, that, that showcases, um, people, the human spirit, and
Mhm.
in all of us, not in just a pretty girl. What did that hashtag pretty girls that was on the circle? That's why I remember.
Wasn't it Skinny Girls?
Yeah, I mean,
Skinny Legends?
so anything that is not promoting, not anything against skinny girls, you know what I'm trying to see, that this is the standard,
And
that.
Sammy even said, like, "Why is it called this?" She's so funny.
So that, and listen to that spirit inside of you, it will
Mhm.
guide you, um it did. That's how dance moms came from that same place in developing it. And I think
Mhm.
people felt um that sense of love in the, beginning of it. And then, just going from that, you'd be surprised, and you would be, everyone has a can contribute. So
That's very true. I couldn't have said it better myself. I think that we all do have a responsibility, and I think it starts with literally going back to, like, basic human nature, listen to your heart versus, worrying about what other people think and whatnot. And yeah, I do still want to talk a little bit about 1946 and Gay Inspire. But yes, everyone watching, my official announcement, I'm really proud to announce that I'm gonna be doing some type of like fun pride series in June. And I wanna basically talk to people who are from the LGBTQ community who have either been oppressed or know even family members, and just give them time to speak. And I think that John will be a great candidate for that because of everything you're working on. But I do specifically want to ask you about Gay Inspire because I was, I'm not going to say I was raised because it wasn't by my parents and it wasn't even necessarily by my church, but just, 10 years ago, the whole status quo, you could say, was if you're gay, God hates you, or if, being gay is a sin. And then I realized it kind of switched from that, and maybe 5 years ago, it was acting on being gay is a sin. And then now we're kind of at the point where God loves everybody and nothing can separate us from the love of God. And I wholeheartedly believe that. And I've done hours of research on what does God say about being gay. And newsflash, guys, he doesn't say that much, Like, how many times is, well, the word is never used, but how many times is
he
homosexuality?
doesn't he doesn't say anything about it.
Yeah,
And
that's true. God himself, Jesus himself says nothing. And I think, how many times is the word love used versus any even reference to being homosexual? And for anyone watching this, make sure to read God and the Gay Christian. That book changed my life. I will send you my copy if anyone DMs me their address. Like, I'm serious. It is so life-changing, and it basically talks about those verses like Romans, I is it Romans 1? The infamous.
I try not to hang on to where those are at, but,
That's true. Okay, the infamous one that everyone uses to pit God against gay people.
that's where that movie, and maybe you can interview her. I'll connect you with her, the director.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
please.
where she, it was revised, the Bible in 1946, so that the word homosexual wasn't in the Bible, and
Mhm.
they revised it. These are old ancient scriptures. They didn't come out in English. Everyone, like they have
Yeah.
to be revised and kind of. And for me, just I don't want people to suffer. At the end of the day, anybody. We all have a choice. We do. I think we pigeonhole people that are bad, that they are bad. And then there's like, well, I'm bad, so I'm going to just be bad, like, because I'm bad, where people do bad things. They're
Mhm.
not bad. And when you kind of rephrase it that way, the gay community has been gay inspired, or my whole point is to, more, I mean, I'm a gay man, so I would say, and I'm women have it, transgender have it, of course, that struggle with God, but I can only go off of my
Of
experience.
course.
So that's who I talk to at times, but anybody can, anytime you're, so that feeling of, especially gay men, I feel they don't have a place when they're struggling.
Mhm.
They don't feel they can go anywhere. Like so they turn to, unfortunately, collectively, not everyone, um, vices, alcohol, drugs, body, um, things like that. Anything that is not good. And so to know that you can go to God
Mhm.
like that, messy, I think sometimes too, that's why we like reality TV. It shows messy, and it's us embracing our messiness too, you know.
Yeah,
And
and oh, go ahead.
no, so that is, you can do that with, you don't have to become a reality star to get that love either, you
Mhm.
know. You can go straight to God and have that experience. And that's my goal, or my inspiration. Gay inspire. Whoa, how did that click in?
What a concept.
So that's all, and for anyone to say, get on your knees. And it's amazing what God, he's done it in my life too, through breakups, through work, through any, and just go there, and you'll walk, pour your heart out to God rather than alcohol or drugs, and you'll walk out being transformed. I
Yes.
promise you.
Yes, you will, and, no, I love that, and I feel like a lot of Christians are becoming more open to the idea. I have a friend who goes to a youth group, and it's specifically meant for gay people to go to, but my hope is one day it doesn't have to be like this separate thing. It almost to me, it almost feels like it's a branch of Christianity, and I don't like that. I feel like it should just be Christianity. It's not like this subset, you know? So I hope one day everything is just merged together. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does. There's, the church has a lot of atoning too. And we went back, I said this earlier, we all have to be accountable. Every
Mhm.
structure right now, government, church, Hollywood, buyers, climate, grocery stores, all of us.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's not, and I know people that can make people feel scared, like, and it's not to make us feel, we've been conditioned.
Yeah, it's
We can go off of that and make a new choice and do better and be better, because we have been taught in media, in television, and film. Of course our mind's going to think we can't change, or we need all this stuff, or God doesn't accept me, if you heard it over and over and over again,
mhm.
growing up. Of course your mind's going to say that, but that's not the truth. So you can go do that, and it's much better. I heard this woman talk once where, you can serve, you can do this, or you can serve God. Like, it's like this horrible thing, like, or you can do what God says, and it's going to be so boring and so.
I've not seen that, but I've unfortunately felt it at times.
And that's not true. It's peace. I mean, we all want peace, everyone. And that's another thing. Anything that creates peace, I think that's the standard we need to have. I even
Yeah.
had a hard time, um it didn't I sold a horror film. It didn't go. It didn't get made. And I started to have a hard time even that getting made. Cuz I'm like, why do, like, the more I started getting closer to God and cleansing myself, so to speak, without sounding super, whatever, I sound how I sound. But why would I want to scare people? Like in my mind, I was like, how is that fun? Like I don't
I
want
mean,
people
some
to be.
people love that, so but I totally get what you mean. Yeah. No, I think that it also it comes down to a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. If you're fixed in your ways, you're not willing to learn and be open to new ideas. And I think that's also something I learned in Christo's class. Oh my goodness.
Wow, good teacher.
Yeah, oh my gosh, amazing teacher. And it's just about how, you go to college or you try something out or you move to a new city and you question your beliefs. And I think that, for people who were raised in the church, it's my hope that one day you never have to question the belief that God loves you, because that's not something that deserves questioning.
And
Um,
there's nothing wrong, anyone watching, there's nothing wrong in God's eyes with being gay. You can have a loving relationship with the same sex, and God fully supports it.
yes. And I wholeheartedly believe that as well. I know people are going to disagree, but hey, that's
Uh oh. Sorry, but that
no,
happens. That's the
don't,
beauty of us, America, too. We have that. And it's people like you, too, Ava. Um, I mean, I met you when you were a kid. You still are a kid to me, but that have any, inspire you. I'm sure you inspire people and keep doing what you're doing, because that's where change, you guys, I'm 20 years older than you. So when I'm older,
no, you're not.
I am, yeah. 44.
No.
I am, yeah. Whoa.
When I met you, I thought you were maybe like 29. I'm not just saying that to like boost your ego.
Yeah. So I want to continue to encourage. That's why it's great, these people that are watching, because you are now, me too, still. I mean, I'll always look at Jane Fonda. She's in her 90s still working. Um, but you all have that power to create these meaningful content, these
Mhm.
meaningful reality shows, and watch. Um, but you have to make that choice too. Not you, but your generation of, am I going to support this show that is, or on social media, or you have that power of whatever you buy that's going to make me feel worse, or am I going to support this that makes me feel better?
Mhm.
And create, and you all can create it. That's the beautiful thing. And you're doing it now. I mean, you do it with your love for drag. That's so great that you are exposing all these, that world, that colorful, beautiful world, and talented world at times.
Yes. Oh,
Not at times, a lot. You're doing it a lot.
thank you. Yeah, and that's a great example. People watch Drag Race because they love drag. Yes, drag shows have skyrocketed and drag queens have been booked a million times over because of Drag Race, but at the end of the day, at least their core audience from like season 1 loved drag. I used to not understand it. If I'm being completely honest, and I've talked about this publicly, I thought it was weird and, just like what why would people be into this? The first year I went to DragCon, I went because my best friend loves the show. I had never seen an episode. It felt like almost like a chore, like I'm doing this for him, like just go try to have fun. And then my eyes were opened.
Mhm.
And I don't know, it gets back to don't judge a book by its cover. And I hope I don't get hate from anyone, because I know people are going to be like, well, then why do you always interview them? And I would say, because now I love this show. You have to let people warm up to something. But it goes to show, like, reality TV can expose people to different worlds, whether it's a dance competition, whether it's drag queens, whether it's social media and how people are portrayed, all that stuff. So I think if we keep that in mind, we'll all be better off.
And we can, and you change. That's what I was saying too. You made a different choice. We all should allow people to, we've all had our judgments, and then we change. And
Mhm.
that's I think it's great. And I watch them too. I watch
So,
your drag videos.
oh,
Not
thank
your drag videos, but you interviewing
me
people
interviewing
doing
him.
drag.
Are you watching this season?
I have not. I have not. Little, I haven't. The last one was the one Heidi was on. That was the last season I watched.
Yes. Oh, with Gigi. I love Gigi Good. You have no idea. I think she's so
And
incredible.
working, I was doing a project. Silky is a gay Christian, so I was working with him on something. So that was the season before, right?
Yeah, season 11. Mhm. Yeah, with Vanjie. Oh my gosh. That was such a good season. Vanjie, Brooke, Evie. That was, yeah, I loved that season. Um, that was the first season I actually watched like in real time. So I was, along for the journey. That was it's a great show. I can't say enough good things about it.
And anyone watching or listening, Disclosure is a great documentary on Netflix about the transgender community and how they're portrayed. And it's a very meaningful documentary. So watch that. It's on Netflix with Laverne Cox hosting it.
Oh, you had me at Laverne Cox. That's amazing. She's so great. I've watched a few like transgender documentaries, but I haven't seen that one, so I'll have to check that out for sure.
And you
It
might even have your, weren't you going to have Zach on possibly?
Yes, yes, but hopefully next week, the week after, as soon as possible for Continuum Community just to chat about that, which I think we forget that inclusion can be improved everywhere, even in a dance world, which tends to be, from an outside perspective, pretty inclusive already. I think there's always room for improvement.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was always taught you can be gay, but you have to dance like a man. And that's an old way of thinking,
And
right?
also, what does that even mean?
Exactly. But see, teachers that are young like you now that are teaching dance will teach their young male. And just because you're feminine doesn't mean you're gay either.
Exactly.
You
I
know,
have, yeah, there was a person in high school, everyone thought he was gay. I think he's engaged now. Or
yeah. So
yeah,
it doesn't, that's the thing. It doesn't, it's just our mind creating all these labels. But I
exactly.
wanted to thank you so much for asking me and just making me feel comfortable.
Oh, of course. No, I am so, so, so glad we did this. And thank you for speaking with me. I know I said I'll try to keep it to 20 minutes, but like I had so many follow-up questions. I'm like, I should have just said it will probably be more than that because, I've genuinely enjoyed catching up with you, but also at the same time providing the audience with some insight into reality TV and your journey. And I'm glad that it felt very conversational. Like I would
Yeah.
talk to you on the phone if I wasn't on camera having this exact conversation. So thank you for
Wait for
making me.
you in 10 years. Hey, you might have your own little show. You never know.
Oh, I hope so. Maybe one day. Although I will say I'm happy with keeping it to YouTube and keeping it my own thing, but you never know if the right producer comes to me, maybe. Oh, well, John, it was so, so, so great to catch up with you. And I'm hoping that everyone, takes something meaningful away from this interview. I'm sure they will. Do you just want to recap your website, talk about 1946, all that fun stuff, like the pitch, you could say?
If you just go to Gay Inspire on Instagram, uh, my personal Instagram, John Corella, is not sometimes, I guess it's getting more meaningful. I'm not, I'm not as calculated like the circle. I was like, should I calculate? Should I be that calculated with my picture? I'm not. So it's not one of those. It's just me posting quotes a lot. And
Mhm.
then, or you can always go to johncorella.net. That has some more, anything that I'm working on. And then 1946, the movie, it's not anything, I just know the director and I'm really wanting to get it out there.
Yeah.
But you can follow that. Her name is Rocky, and there's already a trailer out if you look, which is great. So, but just, yeah, that's it.
Yay. Oh, well, thank you again so much. Everyone go follow John on all accounts. Also, link them below. And yeah, look out for another interview with us come June.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much. Have a blessed day.
Thank you. You too. Have a great day.
Thanks. Bye.